Now to edit CSS of JavaScript, if you remember we had an ID from our last video where we were editing the HTML in this element. It's the same concept. Now instead of having document.getElementById, we are gonna instead erase that. We're gonna say get the style. We want to get the style dot. Now with all our CSS properties, we have access to them with JavaScript. The only difference is we can use this property here. We can copy that there, but any CSS properties with a dash in it, we have to erase the dash and we have to capitalize the next word to it, capitalize that C. If we don't, or if it's a common C, it's case sensitive. It will not recognize the CSS property. And we can put in quotes, we can say green or whatever CSS value we want. Save that and let's launch it. So we see it was blue and now it's green. So we can edit any CSS value we want to with this technique. So let's say we wanted to change the font size. So the CSS property for font size is font size, but we can use the same technique, change that to font size, capital S, and we can then put 100px. Save that and reload. Scroll down. Let me zoom out a bit. So we see how large it has become. So a neat trick we can do with CSS, we can use class names. So let's say we have a few paragraphs with the ID myClass. Let's put some CSS here, dot myClass. Now remember classes are followed by a full stop so that it knows it's a class name and not an HTML tag name. And classes, unlike IDs, they are not unique. You can have them in many elements as you want to have those styles, the specific set of styles. So IDs have to be unique to their element. You can't repeat IDs like you can have repeat class names. They have to refer to one element only. Okay, so let's define a class, my class. So I have these styles in it. So we know what the background color does. Sets the background color to red of the paragraphs or any element that we have this class inside. We set the color, which sets the font color to green. We set the font size, which adjusts the size of the font. And text align, which is centered. This text can be left, center, right, or justify. Those are the values. We have a font weight of bold. We have transform. We've rotated it 10 degrees. And text shadow. No, text shadow this represents the horizontal offset of the shadow. It can be negative. We have the vertical offset, can be negative as well. And we have the blur of the shadow. And we have the color of the shadow. We can leave out these two values. I'll have a default blur and default color of black, because shadows are normally black. But you can make it any color you want. And then once we have this class, we also have an empty class. So we're going to use JavaScript to change the class, the attribute value for the class, which we can then change the style of the element. So this is how those styles will look. The font is bold, it has a shadow, a slight pink shadow, it's rotated 10 degrees, and we have styled it. Now, let's use JavaScript to change that class to a different class. So here's how it will look. Document.getElementByClassName. By class name. So we want to grab all the classes with that class name of my class as here. So I'll grab these three classes, and as opposed to getElementById, which will grab only one unique ID element with that ID. So the other thing here, this here is a class name, as it could be inner HTML or it could be a style, but we're grabbing those and we want to change the class name, and we're setting it to be my class 2, which is our empty class. We could maybe change the background color to something, but I'm making it empty so we can distinguish it easier. And the only strange thing here we see is this square bracket and the 0 inside. Now, we haven't done arrays yet, but for now we'll say arrays are 0 index. So when we grab this, we'll have a group of 3 which we can kind of grab each of these by referencing the numbers. So it starts counting at 0. So this will be 0, 1, 2. So we're grabbing this at position 0, which is paragraph 1, and we are going to change that class name from my class to my class 2. So after this execute, this will have this value, and then if we do it again, now we'll find these two. After this runs, this one will have that, and then this one will run. It will only find this one because this has my class as the attribute value, and then when that runs, it'll have my class 2. So that's how it will be. Now let's erase those twos, let the JavaScript edit it. Oops. And let's see how that will work now. Let's launch that in Chrome. So now we see the styles have disappeared. It flickered. So it would have loaded those styles with the rotation and background color, and then the JavaScript would have changed it to have no styles. So let's say for argument's sake we wanted to edit the heading to have that class in it. So we can come here, copy this. So now we're grabbing getElementById. We're grabbing the heading, the h4 element with that ID, and we're gonna say we're gonna get the dot class name because we want to change the class equals, and we want to put it to be my class, which is the class we defined up here with all the fancy stuff. And this JavaScript is equivalent of doing this. Class equals my class, but we can do it programmatically. And let's see how, so that's JavaScript will add that class there. So let's see how that will look. Let's launch it in Chrome. So the text is green already. Sorry, it makes the text green and the background is green, and it has a slight pink shadow, and it's rotated. So we've edited that class. So that class name you can use with my IDs and stuff like that. Now if we were to take a look, there are lots of DOM elements, document object model. So we have a lot of features, but those two I've showed you are the main ones. Or even just getElementById, you should be able to do everything you want with that. Just set an ID and grab it, and then you can edit anything you want, the CSS, the HTML, what it is, all the attributes you can grab. And there are many ones. You can even create a new element in JavaScript. You can do a lot of stuff, but those getElementById is the most useful one we will use. It'll take a while to get familiar with all of these different ones, but you should be able to do everything with just this one function, getElementById.